Hello everybody, this is Servartus, and welcome to Thursday Night NUWE Highlights number 1. Starting off would be a triple threat match between Ric Flair, Undertaker, and Sting. This would be quite the tone setter for what NUWE is all about. Flair wishing to prove why he is the dirtiest player in the game, Taker establishing himself as the big evil, and Sting seeking retribution against those that are against goodness. Undertaker would assert his dominance from the beginning, showing that he is not to be taken lightly. He has been known for his disregard for the rules and will stop at nothing to defeat his opponents. Sting is on a mission to stop Taker's path of destruction, but Ric Flair keeps getting in the way. Flair is only concerned with his status as the guy to beat when it comes to heelish behavior. He's coming to the realization that he is past his prime and on the way out. Sting considers him to be a nuisance and tries his best to keep the wily veteran out of his way. Undertaker has little respect for Flair and only sees him as a man with one foot in the grave. He powers through him to get to Sting and leaves no doubt in Sting's mind that it is a futile dream to defeat the dead man. After a volley of whips to the ring apron, Taker attempts to use Flair as his victim. However, Sting won't go down easy. He applies the first finisher of the match with his devastating Scorpion Deathlock. Flair stops it and keeps Sting from capitalizing with a classic shin breaker. Undertaker doesn't take kindly to being showed up and applies his own version of the move on Ric. Sting encourages Taker to give Flair a taste of his own medicine as he allows the Phenom to tombstone pile drive him. Yet before the three, Sting steps in, slamming Flair onto a back and landing his own tombstone on Taker. Undertaker counters and continues to put away Flair. Flair bursts back with a shoulder toss and locks Sting into a figure 4 leg lock. Sting survives, but Flair takes out his aggression on the interfering dead man and proceeds to put the figure 4 on him as well. Sting ends it, and Flair attempts to teach him a lesson with a top rope punch. Sting agrees that there should be more aerial moves and delivers a crossbody slam. Flair has been a thorn in his side since the beginning, and Sting takes him to task to show the old man has truly lost his spark. Undertaker takes Sting off guard to show that you don't mess with the old school style of wrestling. Regardless, Sting sets Flair up for a back superplex. With Flair down, Sting returns his attention to his main foe with a Samoan slam. Unfazed, Taker goes for the tombstone, but Sting reverses with a DDT. Flair once more tries to achieve glory with his figure 4 on Taker. Sting lets this happen out of respect and to weaken his true opponent, stopping it just short of a submission. Sting pays Undertaker back for the earlier apron whips with a flurry of knee lifts and a kick to the midsection before Flair interrupts with a back suplex. Sting gets angry with Flair for the last time and tombstone pile drives him. Taker tries to steal the pin, but Sting won't let that happen. He must defeat Taker with all he has and delivers his powerful German suplex. Flair stops the count, but incurs the wrath of The Undertaker and receives the true tombstone. Realizing that he can't put the Taker away himself. Sting decides to keep him from winning by pinning Flair. The undead monster is too spent to stop the count and stares in rage as the Stinger picks up the win. The winner of the first Thursday Night NUWE match is Sting. The next match was a fatal four-way between Big Boss Man, Paul Wight, Haku, and Ricky Steamboat. For heels, size does matter, and for Big Boss Man, it's all that matters for him to dominate the promotion and keep the others in check. Haku is a legitimate wild man and not to be trifled with. Paul Wight is the definition of a giant and knows he must keep Big Boss Man down. Ricky Steamboat was selected personally by NUWE manager Peter Strocaski to teach the good guys a lesson. The big men start off in force, showing that their size will be an issue for the smaller wrestlers. Yet, this changes as Big Boss Man shows Mr. Wight who's boss. Paul fires back with a huge body slam and a giant boot. Ricky Steamboat sets his sights on the giant and begins a flurry of strikes to knock him down a peg. Haku turns the tables, or rather, chair, on Big Boss Man, slamming him on top of it. Steamboat takes flight, landing an elbow on Wight. The annoyed Wight takes the dragon for a ride as Big Boss Man delivers a superplex to Haku. Showing that this is a big boys game, Big Boss Man plants Steamboat with a spine buster. Haku would take advantage, giving Big Boss Man the electric chair drop. Paul squashes Ricky with a running rope press. Resilient and determined, the dragon fights back with a drop kick, following up with an explosive arm toss. Steamboat flies again, grounding the mountain with a crossbody pin. Paul powers out of the count, and Ricky directs his attention to Big Boss Man, seemingly teaming with Haku until the Samoan drop kicks him. Wight takes the stunned Steamboat and slams him into the announce table. Big Boss Man goes for his first finisher, the Big Boss Slam. Paul Wight stops the count. Ricky whips the distracted Wight out of the ring as Haku takes another body slam from the Big Boss Man. Ricky goes for his sleeper hold while the other wrestlers are down. Haku breaks the hold before the submission. Big Boss Man returns the favor by giving the dragon a DDT. Another Big Boss Slam, but Haku stops the pin this time. Paul Wight walks into a vicious Tongan death grip, but outlasts it. Big Boss Man launches the tiny Steamboat with an extended suplex, and follows with another spine buster. Wanting to get in on the action, Paul Wight tries to take advantage of Big Boss Man's work, but is beat back by the chief of the ring. Ricky Steamboat mounts an offensive with a succession of falling punches, softening the boss for another sleeper hold. Unable to get the tap, the dragon goes for Haku with a back suplex. Big Boss Man lets Steamboat land a crossbody on Haku, but stops the pin only to be surprised by Paul Wight's body press slam. Haku and Wight set up their chokeslam finishers, but are both reversed. into an elbow drop and a back slam, respectively. Working together on the Giant, Big Boss Man nearly loses his chance to put a finisher on Paul Wight, but ultimately gets the move. Knowing that Steamboat might have a chance to beat him with speed, Paul slams the Dragon on the outside for good measure. Paul returns to his rival, but Big Boss Man fins him off with a fist to the midsection. Haku climbs the turnbuckle and lands a sickening elbow to Ricky Steamboat's back. Furious with nearly receiving an injury, Steamboat gets caught up with his assault on Haku. And it's too late to stop Big Boss Man from finishing off Paul Wight for the 3 count. Big Boss Man wins the Fatal 4-Way and proves he's the chief big man of NUWE. Third match of the night was a single match versus Hearst Helmsley and Stunning Steve Austin. Believing himself to be being superior to everyone else, Hearst Helmsley can't stand the arrogance of Stunning Steve Austin and seeks to show him what high-born society can teach a good-for-nothing show-off. Clearly the better technician, Hunter applies a textbook arm wrench takedown to start things off. Austin retorts with a neckbreaker. Shocked by the move, Hunter answers with a devastating backbreaker and targets Austin's right arm. Steve shows that won't stop him as he arm drags Helmsley, in which blue blood starts to boil as he applies a pile driver, and then a neckbreaker, topping off with a falling forearm smash. Steve Austin shows his tenacity by giving the ponytailed punk a lifting arm wrench. Hunter throws out proper procedure and takes the fight to the floor. Clearly full of himself, Hearst Helmsley forgets that this is the Stunner's advantage and takes a swinging backdrop. Steve Austin shoves the textbook down Hunter's throat with a flawless suplex and rubs his face with repeated fists to his snobby face. Stunning Steve Austin has had it with Hearst Helmsley, starts taking him on his way. A pile driver and a running cross chop later, Hunter fights back with a back suplex. And his finisher, the pedigree. But to no avail. Stunning Steve Austin sets Hearst for a turnbuckle neckbreaker. And then a flying gut punch. In a last-ditch effort to teach Austin some manners, Helmsley performs a back superplex. Not one to change for anyone, the Stunner reverses the worn-out aristocrat, proceeds to teach him a lesson of hard knocks, and gets the 3 without even using his finisher. Stunning Steve Austin proves it doesn't take perfection to be a winner. Match number 4 would pit Fit Finlay versus the Rated R superstar Edge. Fit Finlay is one of the toughest wrestlers in the business, and he doesn't consider the young cocky Edge to be a threat. Edge plans on changing that. Trying to gain the advantage early, Edge punishes Finlay with a back suplex. However, Fit Finlay is a stubborn Irishman and whips Edge into a stiff spinebuster. Bouncing right back, Edge delivers a flapjack and continues the pressure with another back suplex. Being tossed to the floor, Finlay lays in wait to strike back with a shoulder block and send Edge into the steps. Finlay attempts to continue Edge's beating, but he proves too clever for the stout fighter and capitalizes with a gutbuster. The ultimate opportunist takes to the top turnbuckle and lands a flying headbutt to fit Finlay. Fit is starting to see that this wrestler isn't what he expected, as Edge grabs him for the neckbreaker on the outside. Back in the ring, Finlay plays possum again, catching Edge off guard with a knee lift. Not to be taken advantage of again, Edge sends out a barrage of blows to Finlay and swings in for an Edge-o-matic. Finlay kicks out. On the outside, Finlay combos Edge into a backbreaker. Proceeds to taunt him inside the ring. Edge goes to confront Finlay, but is kicked in the midsection for a lifting gut-wrench slam. Winded by the powerful move, Edge is set up for Finlay's signature, the Celtic Cross, and follows with his finisher Tombstone Piledriver. Thinking he's put Edge away for good, Finlay goes to the pin. After a close 3 count, Finlay can hardly believe the upstart could still move. Edge strikes back, but Finlay has had it with him and lands him with the reverse atomic drop. Not going down again, Edge shoots back up, tossing Finlay over his shoulder. Edge can sense his chance to end this and spears Finlay for a pin attempt. The shoulder goes up, and Edge tries for another move, but Fit slides out and goes for the neckbreaker. But Edge reverses. Finlay doggedly grapples Edge again for a Samoan drop and follows with a running seated senton. Finlay, wishing to put this match to rest, goes for his submission, the Celtic Knot, but Edge counters with a toe hold and gives out another Edge-o-matic. Another close 3. Edge stares down Finlay and pulls out a strong punch, dazing the Belfast Brawler for one last spear, and gets the 3 count. Edge wins the respect of Finlay and the locker room after this hard-fought victory. The 5th bout of the night would be a Falls Count Anywhere match between NUWE Extreme Champion Scott Steiner and Macho Man Randy Savage. Scott Steiner is sure that he is the most extreme wrestler in NUWE, but Savage knows it takes a little bit of the madness to be the best. Right off the bat, Scott launches Randy into the air and wrenches his head to show off his strength. After a brutal flying knee drop and then a whip to the corner, Steiner lifts Savage into a suplex and reps him to humiliate his opponent. Macho finally answers back with a reverse atomic drop. Scott is unaffected as he taunts Randy, then whips him to the apron, only to toss him back into the ring. Showing he's not playing around, Savage counters with a fireman carry toss. Steiner goes for the body slam, but Savage reverses and flips the muscled heel over. Scott Steiner shoulders his way back and shows the Macho Man how it's done. He then easily lifts Randy Savage for a gut-wrenching slam, and then a suplex toss. The Madness starts to kick things up a notch and nails Steiner with a running elbow. Randy Savage checks under the ring and grabs a chair, and then proceeds to pummel the showboating heel with it. Steiner is then sent to the guardrail, and Savage goes for his first pin attempt on the floor. Steiner kicks out and tries to get back to form, but is countered by Randy. Nearly getting away from this encounter, Scott is grappled and planted on the chair. Savage is snapped and gives Scott a pile driver to the chair. Not letting up, Randy gives another reverse atomic drop to demoralize the brash bully. He then repeatedly slams Steiner's head onto the same chair. Pin attempt number 2. But another kick out. Savage is sure that should have been it. He now tries everything, whipping Steiner into the ring, the guardrail, and slams him into it again. Scott tries to fight back, but the Madness is in full force, and nothing is going to stop Savage from finishing him off. Another toe hold counter from Steiner, but this only ticks Randy off more. A fireman carry slam into a pile driver to the floor. One, two, three. Macho Man Randy Savage is the winner. Savage is victorious, causing Scott Steiner to hold on tighter to his championship belt. Now we go to the live commentary for the main event between Stone Cold Steve Austin and NUWE champion Behemoth.
Alright everybody, this is the match we've all been waiting for. The Stone Cold Steve Austin versus NUWE champion Behemoth. And first out is going to be Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I don't get this Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's got this balding man with the facial hair, and he's got the skull and eyeballs. Don't get it. But honestly, does he really think he has a chance against my Behemoth?
Well, I really don't think it's a question of does he have a chance. It doesn't really matter for him. He's going to try his best. Whether you think it's his best or not, he's going to go out there. He's going to fight.
Well, good, because he's going to need to fight. Because my Behemoth doesn't go down easy. Doesn't hold back. He's virtually unstoppable.
Well, I sure hope so, as the crowd reacts to the entrance of the Behemoth. Here he comes, folks. My goodness, what a massive individual he is. He's just quite the intimidating person.
Yes, intimidation is his ultimate goal.
We're getting a look at the NUWE Championship belt, and it's quite miraculous. Earlier in the show, we saw the NUW Extreme belt on Scott Steiner, and I really like the look on these belts.
Well, I personally crafted them myself. The only belts we haven't seen yet are the NUWE True Tag Team Champion belts. And hopefully we'll have more tag team bouts so we can finally see them.
Yes, and the current holders of those belts are the NWO, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall. And the number one contenders are the team of Triple H and X-Pac of D-Generation X.
Enough about this tag team foolishness, Kenneth. let's get ready to call this match.
Yes, sir, Mr. Peter the Great, sir. There's the bell, and Behemoth goes in for the first grapple. And he lifts Steven up for oh my goodness, look at the strength in this suplex.
This is no surprise. The Behemoth is stronger than the strongest bull.
That may be so, as Behemoth goes to grapple Steven again.
Mr. Austin should see the error of his decision to go against Behemoth.
Slamming Steven down again, and he stomps him, lifts him up again for another grapple.
Look at how easily he lifts him around and tosses him to the ropes. He's going to whip him.
What? Stone Cold tries to mount an offense, but Behemoth just powers out of it.
This is not going to be easy.
Steve Austin fights back with a combination of right fists, and he whips him to the ropes for the Lutez press.
How can these people be cheering him? He is a scoundrel. No one should be looking up to this Stone Cold.
Behemoth counters with a lifting back body press, and follows with a towering elbow drop.
Look at my monster lifting him up right over his head and slamming him down.
That jumping knee drop didn't look very good.
I would like anyone else from this roster of mine to stand up against Behemoth. Not even Undertaker could take him down.
Stone Cold kicks the midsection and grapples, then goes for the Irish whip. Whips Behemoth around, and Behemoth counters. Belly back suplex.
Behemoth goes for the pin. It's over.
Not yet. Seems that Stone Cold still has some fight left in him.
Not for long.
Steve Austin with the snapmare takeover, and Behemoth counters with a brutal punch to the midsection.
Behemoth is nothing but brutal as he slings Stone Cold to the floor. And I must say, I am glad that I've crafted this ring for ultimate pain.
Between the wooded mat and the uncovered ropes, I have to say the broken stone floor is quite the touch. Oh my, the wrestlers are right next to our table. Look at Stone Cold just laying into Behemoth.
I do not fear this Stone Cold. Come closer, you fool.
Both wrestlers go back into the ring, and Stone Cold counters Behemoth with an arm toss.
Look at Stone Cold. Can't take Behemoth on one-on-one, so he uses my ring as his weapon.
I mean, you were the one that made it as a test to all wrestlers for their strength. Stone Cold is beating Behemoth down. Is this his chance?
Stone Cold is going to have to keep it up if he even thinks that he can take on Behemoth. But it's not likely going to work out.
Well, it seems to be working out in his favor. Stone Cold lifts a dazed Behemoth for a grapple, and then Behemoth just tosses him.
How many times is Stone Cold going to try his best? He's going to constantly knock Behemoth down, and Behemoth is going to get right back up. He will not stop until he defeats you, until you are utterly wiped out.
Well, Behemoth kicked out of that one, and Stone Cold is starting to realize the futility of his actions. What does he have to do next? A snapmare takeover, and Behemoth sets up Stone Cold for a surfboard with his knee on the back.
You can hear Stone Cold's spine crinkling from here. Well, Behemoth will keep wrenching and stretching Stone Cold until he's
Stone Cold fires back with a kick to the midsection, but Behemoth is just powering through his attacks and lifts him up for a back body drop. Oof.
The boos of the crowd should not bother Behemoth. I have trained him well. He should feed off the suffering of humans.
was their hero, Steve Austin. Well, he shall be taken down quite easily.
Well, Stone Cold kicks out of that pin and kicks Behemoth in the midsection. And what's he gonna do? Oh, he gives him the jawbreaker, jarring. Oh, you can tell Stone Cold, he's been really taking him through the ringer. But that doesn't mean he's not gonna put up a fight. And the crowd erupts as Stone Cold snapmares Behemoth for a takedown.
It's going to take more than that to take down my Behemoth. He is not your ordinary man. He was created to be virtually unbeatable.
Noticing his headlock wasn't really doing much, Stone Cold lifts up Behemoth, and then snapmares him, and then slams an elbow down onto his neck. The crowd's really liking this. Looks like Steve Austin is sizing up Behemoth, and then into the Stone Cold Stunner, first finisher of the match. Will this be a pin?
Huh. Most likely not. Only fools believe that this is over.
Whoa, it's not every day somebody kicks out of the Stunner.
And it's not every day that I enjoy sitting next to you, Kenneth.
Well, I wish I could respond to you in kind, sir, but you're my boss. Behemoth turns Stone Cold around and goes for a move, but Stone Cold elbows his way out and then hits him with a running bulldog.
Mr. Austin is tough, I will give him that. But he is not tough than my Behemoth.
Behemoth changes the color of this match and by giving Stone Cold a jawbreaker of his own. And now he's lifting him up for another delayed suplex. My goodness, he's powerful.
Now you will see Behemoth's true strength. You shall see Stone Cold be placed deep underground.
Oh my, Behemoth's lifting up Stone Cold for his finisher, the Horseman's Ride.
Just like death, Behemoth's apocalypse is inevitable.
And he kicks out. My goodness, the crowd does not like how Behemoth is just manhandling Stone Cold. And he clearly is shocked that he was able to even kick out of that. I bet you were surprised by that too, Peter the Great.
I have already said that Mr. Austin is quite tough for a man. But Behemoth, like I said before, is more than that. He's beyond your human comprehension. And he is going to now eviscerate and destroy Stone Cold.
Stone Cold kicks out again, and he's just proving that he has the tenacity to withstand the beating of Behemoth. Behemoth gives him a brutal blow to the head, and then whips him to the turnbuckle, that steel-covered turnbuckle, and slams into him, brutally kicking him down to the ground.
You see, that's the first time in this match that Behemoth has broken a sweat. Stone Cold is covered in it. He has very little stamina for these kind of fights, especially against my Behemoth.
Behemoth continues to soak in the upset crowd and the boos, but it just fuels him and his strength. Stone Cold's firing back with kicks and a punch. And it looks like he's gonna mount an offense here with rapid knees to the midsection and knees him to the head. Is this his opening? Oh no, Stone Cold's taking this a little too far. He's snapped, to say the least. He's not even wrestling anymore. He's just trying to dismantle Behemoth and break him down. The crowd does not appreciate his underhandedness.
Oh, how quickly our heroes fall. Just like I said all this time, Stone Cold is tough. He might be able to put up a fight, but Behemoth will beat him down no matter who's behind him, no matter who cares about him.
Seeing Stone Cold struggle, the crowd cheers for him to see that he follows through with this victory. But Behemoth is powering out of what Steven is putting down. Now he's going back to wrenching the back of Stone Cold.
Now, it wouldn't be too bad for Mr. Austin to submit right here and save himself the humiliation and of the upsettedness of this crowd. And of course, to save his own neck.
I don't think Stone Cold cares about his body anymore. He just wants to prove that he can take Behemoth's punishment as he's lifted up once again for the Horseman's Ride. But he wiggles free and goes for the grapple, but Behemoth just shoves him down.
Look at my Behemoth. He's not even shrugging. He's not even slouching. He is in peak condition. And as he's lifting up Stone Cold so easily, he plants him back down.
Irish whip to the corner. Behemoth stalks Stone Cold and then lifts him up and then places him for the Tree of Woe.
Listen to the cries of these people. Look at their hero being destroyed.
Things definitely aren't looking good for Stone Cold Steve Austin. Whoa, looks like Stone Cold still has some fight left in him. What's he gonna do here? Oh no, is he setting him up? He's setting him up for the Stone Cold Stunner. Oh, is he gonna go for the pin? Is that it? No, it looks like he's gonna set him up again. 2 Stone Cold Stunners? Oh my gosh, 2 Stone Cold Stunners. Now he's gonna go for the pin. 1, 2, what? No! Behemoth kicked out! 2 Stone Cold Stunners?
Perhaps now you will believe me about Behemoth. Perhaps now you will see that your Stone Cold doesn't have what it takes.
The fight isn't over as Stone Cold hits Behemoth with a running bulldog.
There's no point. Stone Cold has already used 2 of his finishing moves. Most do not survive even 1. Behemoth will survive more.
You may be right about those finishing moves, but I think Stone Cold still has a few tricks up his sleeve to try and take Behemoth down. After muscling out of the headlock, Behemoth is whipped to the turnbuckle. Failing to follow up, Behemoth's snapmare takes over Stone Cold, but he reverses the elbow to the head.
It's just a matter of time until Stone Cold will be taken down for good. He can claw and punch all he wants, but Behemoth will have the final blow.
Behemoth gets the shoulder up, and Stone Cold is puzzled as to what he needs to do to finally get the pin. Doing what he does best, Stone Cold starts to attack the body, starting from the top and then going to the legs. He lifts him up and grapples and whips him to the outside. The crowd isn't too pleased with that. They like the fight to stay in the ring. But Stone Cold is at his wit's end. He needs to do whatever it takes to defeat this monster. If that means going to the outside, well, that's what he's gonna have to take. He starts punching and kicking the midsection, kneeing him, kicking him again, kicking him down to the ground. Stone Cold is almost out of juice, but he's gonna fight until the bitter end.
Don't worry, the end will be here soon enough.
Behemoth brings it back into the ring. He punches Steven into the side, and then puts him in for the Horseman's Ride. Oh, devastating. Goes for the pin. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that's it, folks. That's the end. Behemoth has come out on top. Not too pleased with this.
What you fail to realize is that Behemoth was dominant throughout this entire match. Even though Stone Cold did get a few good hits in, Behemoth is just too tough, too powerful. Look at him, lifting him up over his back and tossing him. He did that so many times, and he lifts him back up again for this devastating knee to the back. But like I said, Stone Cold did get a few good counters, and he did put a good fight against my monster. But when all is said and done, Behemoth comes out and demolishes his opponents. There it is, the Horseman's Ride. What a fine move.
Well, here's the winner, Behemoth. And on behalf of Peter the Great Strocaski, this is Kenneth Michaels signing off from this edition of Thursday Night NUWE. To recap the night, Sting wins the triple threat versus Undertaker and Flair. Big Boss Man wins the Fatal 4-Way against Paul Wight, Haku, and Ricky Steamboat. Stunning Steve Austin wins against Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Edge wins against Finlay. Randy Savage wins against Scott Steiner. And Behemoth wins against Stone Cold Steve Austin. This is Servartus, and thank you for watching this edition of Thursday Night NUWE and my WWE 2K16 Universe Mode.